Hello friends, I'm Kirsten Lindhart with The Mindful Heart, and I am so glad that you are here. In this video, I'm going to teach you how you can make your very own Loch Ness monster craft. Let's get started. All right, to make a funny little Loch Ness monster of your own, you're going to need to grab a few supplies to have ready. The first thing you'll need to do is cut out some felt pieces. Here, I went ahead and I cut out 4 fins, and I cut out a little spiky thing to put on my Loch Ness monster's head. You can make as many fins or spikes as you want for your Loch Ness monster. You're also going to need some craft wire. You can find this at most craft stores. You're going to need a piece of scrap yarn, a pair of scissors, a couple of goggly eyes. I want my Loch Ness monster to have 2 eyes, but you can give your Loch Ness monster as many eyes as you want, and a finger knitted rope all ready to go. So I held 2 strands of green yarn together. I used the four finger knitting method. There will be a link in the description box below if you want to learn how to do that. And I went ahead and I hid the ends of one side of my little rope here. And my rope is about 12 inches long, but you can make yours as long as you want. Now, this little friend here that I already made, he's just like this, but I'm going to turn this one into a puppet, and I'm going to use 2 green popsicle sticks to do that. So the first thing that I'm going to do is grab my hot glue gun, and make sure that whenever you use a hot glue gun, you have a parent or trusted adult with you. And I'm going to start gluing on some of these pieces to my little monster here. So first I'm going to glue on his 2 little eyes. Just like that. There we go. I'm going to glue on this little spike thing that I want for his head. And I'm going to put it right about here. Next, I'm going to take my 4 fins and I'm going to glue one on each side. Let's flip him over and do the other side. Like that. We'll grab our next 2 fins. Just like this. All right. Now I'm going to grab my scrap piece of yarn, and I wanted to give him a little finny tail that was a little bit floofier than just these 2 ends that are left over here. So I'm going to take my 1 piece of scrap yarn, and towards the bottom of my tail, I'm going to find a space between a couple of the stitches. I'm going to slide my scrap piece of yarn through. Now, to secure that scrap piece of yarn so it doesn't fall off, I'm going to grab all the pieces of yarn at the tail end of my little Loch Ness monster, and I'm going to tie a nice tight knot to keep it all secure. I don't want my Loch Ness's little finny tails to be quite that long, so I'm going to go ahead and trim them a little bit. Just like that. Now, the last thing I need to do before I add my popsicle sticks is slide wire through his body. Now, I do this because you can see he doesn't hold his shape very well without the wire. So I'm going to slide my wire through his body here. I'm going to go right through where his mouth should be. And then I'm just going to keep slipping this wire through. Just kind of stick it between some of the pieces of yarn. It doesn't have to be imperfect, but I kind of try to hide it in the middle so that the wire isn't quite so obvious. Just like this. It can get a little tricky, but you'll get the hang of it. All right, so I finish right as I get to that end there. And since I left my wire attached to the holder here, it's now time for me to snip it off. Okay, now, like I said at the beginning, I want to turn my little friend into a little puppet. So I'm going to grab my hot glue sticks here. And you know, I'm going to sneak him underneath those fins that I've got. I can just imagine him swimming through the Loch Ness over in Scotland. I'm going to kind of bend him into a shape that I like. Well, there you go. Thank you for learning how to finger knit a Loch Ness monster with me today. Be sure to stay tuned for more fun videos like this one. I'm Kristen Lindhart, and this is The Mindful Heart.